Okay, so where can I show you first? Let's take you to the 4 hour time frame first of all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually right click and I'm going to choose template and save template, and I'm going to use this one so you guys can actually download this and apply it to your templates folder. Okay, let's call this Ichimoku Ichimoku. I think that's it. I'll just call it like that, Ichimuko. Alright, so now we've got the templates cut saved, so you're just going to apply that on there now. Okay, so see if we can find an area where we can actually produce some buy and sell signals. Alright. Okay, so the currency prices, first of all, home in on the currency prices, alright, the candles, the green and the red bars, home in onto those. And then the next thing you want to take a look at is to home in on these blue and red lines. Okay, you see these blue and red lines here. If I hover over this one, this will actually say, I think it's a Chinku Span, the Chinku Span, alright, and this one here is called the Kinjun Sing. Okay, well, excuse my pronunciations if I'm not getting them correctly. Okay, and we've got over here the black line here. This one's called the Chinku Span, and then we've got these perforated lines on here as well on the outside, and on like there's the bottom part and there's the top part of it, and these are actually referred to as Chinku Span A and Chinku Span B, and these represent support and resistance levels. Okay, the way they've actually plotted these on the charts is really weird. So I'm not going to get into the reasons why they plotted them like 26 ahead or 26 behind or what have you. I'm just going to try and just show you in this particular video on like how to find areas to go long and go short on. But let's just say that these areas here, these are called the clouds, with the dotted dash lines in them. Okay, all of these are referred to as clouds, and the Japanese name for them, I believe, is called Kumu, a Kumu cloud. Alright, and there are probably about 5 different ways that you could use this particular indicator to find a buy or sell signal. And the sell signal appears when you see these two lines, the red and the blue one, and that's what we're focusing on. So we need to go ahead and take off our auto scroll, and I'm going to try and find an area in the market where they actually cross. Okay, here we have a section right here, and we can see that the currency prices, the candles, are actually below the red and the blue line. Okay, and you can see that the point at where they crossed over was right here. Now it's very important. Now I want you to take note of this. It's very important that when you're looking for a sell trade opportunity, that the currency prices, the candles, need to be below the red and blue line, but also at the point at which it crosses, which is right there, you need to be ready to open your trade. When it crosses right here, you need to go short on the next bar. Okay, short on the next bar. Now the candles also need to be below the Kumo. Very important. The Kumo is here, which is the cloud. Alright, and we can see the two crosses over right here. So rule number 1, currency prices are below the cloud. Yes, they are. Rule number 2, does the Chinku Span and the Chinku Span cross over? Yes, do they cross over below the cloud or right on the cloud? Yes, they do. Now when I say right on the cloud, I don't mean in the middle, I mean just on the edge right here. Alright, and yes, it does, it crosses right there. So that's rule number 2. Rule number 3, get in on the next bar. Rule number 4, when to get out of this trade, is when they cross over again. You see where this blue line and this red line crosses above the blue, that's your time to exit. So we would have got in here and exited somewhere along this bar. It could be down the bottom, it could have been up the top, so let's just bisect it. And that would have been for 339 pips over a 42 bar period, which is 160 odd hours. So that's about a week, and that's normally generally around about the time span that you would leave trades open for 4 hour time frames or higher, anywhere between like 5 days or longer. So now for a buy trade, now let me just go over this again. Alright, Kumo cloud, clouds need to be underneath the Kumo cloud, plus the crossover needs to be below the Kumo cloud or just barely on the outskirts of it. Alright, and then go short on the next bar. Now based on that entry to go short, can you let me know, just pause the video for a couple of moments so you can think about this and let me know what you think a buy trade would be. Is it the opposite? Okay, if we was to say the opposite, we can see one right here. So would we go long at this particular point? Well, you might be saying to yourself, yeah, we could go long because the currency prices went up and we got a cross right here. All right, and you could say yes, well, it did go up, the currency prices went up because, you know, if you can remember, you know, you could have said, like Loz says, you know, once you see the signal, it's going to keep on going in that general direction. But is it? Do you know it's going to go in that general direction all the time? But you don't really know. Alright, so we need to really make sure that when you're looking for a buy trade, we do have to do the opposite, but the opposite is where the candles need to be above the Kumo cloud this time. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look for another buy opportunity. Okay, so here is a section here where we've got the crossover, and this crossover actually appears below the Kumo, so that's no good. We can't work with that. Alright, and even though the currency prices still went up, but we could have acted off of this trade by using a different signal, but for this particular signal that I'm trying to show you, it's not going to work because this crossover here is below the Kumo. Alright, so we need a crossover that's above the Kumo. Alright, here is one where the crossover, okay, where you've got the Chinku Span and the Convergence Span have actually crossed over inside the cloud, so that's no good. We don't want that one. Alright, let's keep on scrolling until we do find a buy trade. Okay, here we go. Here is the Kumo cloud. The currency prices are above the cloud, and now we've got a crossover that happens just very, very close to the Chinku Span A or Chinku Span B. It doesn't really matter, but it's very, very close to this top line, which is what we want, and then we can go long on the next bar. We go long right here, and then we exit out of the trade when it gets up to this point here. Right, when it crosses over again. So we get in on here, which is basically where I actually bought this trade previously, and we get out right there at 132.23.6. Alright, and that would have yielded 294 pips. So that's a buy trade, just using that particular trade setup. That's signal number one for buy and sell signals. The second is the Kumo Cross. Now the Kumo Cross is basically, as it sounds, these clouds are referred to as Kumos. Alright, K-U-M-O, Kumo. We've got a long Kumo cloud and we've got a short Kumo cloud, and when they cross over each other, like here, this is where you prepare to go long. Okay, now when you take a look at this Kumo Cross, you've got to count 26 bars back. So I'm going to get my crosshair tool out and I'm going to place it at the point where I feel that the crossover is. Now we can be plus or minus 1 bar out, but try to be precise as possible, and I think it's about there. Now 26 bars. Now, how do you know how many bars it is when you move it to the left? Well, it's the first number on the left hand side. We've got 18 and then 4,378 and then 1.27619 there as the figures. It's the first figure. It's now 19 and now it says 22 and now it says 33. We want that number to be 26. So we come back all the way over to number 26 and there's number 26 right there. Okay, and what we want to do is go long only if this black line is above the 26 area. It needs to be, basically it needs to be above the cloud. Alright, so where's 26? There's 26 here, and that's how far away it is from the cloud, so that's good. We can go long at this particular point. Okay, and you just go ahead and use other technical analysis to work out where you can actually close the trade.